In this video, I will cover some common scenarios where changes to the top server configuration are not possible. For every example, I will share the causes and solutions and walk you through the required steps. The first scenario I would like to share is commonly seen in systems where multiple users have access to the configuration. For this example, I have created a new top server configuration in a test system I am logging into remotely. The top server event logs shows us what user started the configuration session as well as the access permissions it has. In this case, this user has read and write access permissions. Now, I will leave this configuration window open, which has the full read and write access, and sign into the same system with a different user. In this case, is my personal user that has the same permissions as the previous one. But now that we open the top server configuration window, we now see that my user only has RO or read-only access to this config. This message can easily be missed if the event log is receiving a large number of events during the time the user logs in. But an easy visual way to confirm if you have read-only access is the small lock on the bottom right-hand corner of the application window as you see here. Now, if we were to try to make any changes to the configuration, such as a simple channel name change, you can see that we're not able to apply the changes as these options will be grayed out. But we do have the ability to view the configuration parameters that were previously determined. To resolve this, we will need the original user that previously opened and did not close the configuration to sign back into the system and close their top server configuration window. Let me show you this in real time. You can close or leave your config open. I will go ahead and close it. Now I'm back as the original user, and as you can recall, I left this configuration window open and now I am closing it. Now, I am back as my personal user and will open the top server configuration once again. And as you can see, I now have read and write access. We can now make any changes to the configuration and apply them. And finally, notice that we no longer see the small lock symbol we had before. The second and actually most common scenario is when there are client applications actively requesting data from top server and its configured devices. Now, this does not apply for all properties, but if you come across a property change that reverts to the previous value after you try to apply the change, this is most likely the scenario you are encountering. Allow me to demonstrate what I mean when trying to apply a change and having it revert back to its previous value. Please notice that there are currently 2 clients connected to the top server and that are actively requesting data for 303 tags. In my configuration for channel 2, I have a device that is using the Allen Bradley ControlLogix Ethernet driver that is communicating to a ControlLogix 5500 controller in our lab. Now, if I were to try to change something like the protocol mode from the default logical non-blocking to something like symbolic and try to apply the change, you can see it automatically reverts back to the logical non-blocking protocol mode. Another example here could be changing the array block size from the default 120 to let's say 240. After I apply the change, you see it revert back. Again, this does not apply to all device properties, but if you experience a similar issue, this is the scenario I am covering at this moment. Now, let's discuss the solution. Again, I have 2 active clients. I believe one is my Cogent Data Hub that is running as a service. The other one, I am not quite sure of what it could be. In reality, you may have a large number of clients connected and you may not know which client is requesting what data points from a specific device. or most likely you do not have access to the clients to stop it requesting from the top server. In those cases, what we can do from the top server end is to disconnect the top server configuration from the runtime, make the changes, and reconnect the runtime. Allow me to walk you through this now. In order to disconnect the config from the runtime, we go to Runtime, Disconnect. The event log will show that we have ended the session. Now we can go into the device properties we want to change. I'll make changes to the protocol mode and array block size I demonstrated earlier. I will apply an OK, and now let's connect the revised config to the runtime by doing Runtime Connect. Select Yes to update the runtime with the current loaded project we just made changes to, and you can click No to save the changes as they have been applied to the runtime already. I went ahead and said yes to demonstrate that we can save the config if you wish to. We can see that the event log reports that the runtime project has been replaced, and now we can have a look and confirm that the properties have been successfully applied. The final scenario I would like to cover is when making changes to the top server data logger plugin. Here I have a log group configured. If we expand the group, notice that I am not able to add any new items as the options are grayed out. We see the same thing with column mappings or triggers, and we cannot make any changes to any existing items. The reason for this is that the log group is currently active. To resolve this, we can right-click on the log group, disable the log group, and now the options to modify our items, mappings, and triggers are available. This video has shown common scenarios you may encounter when making changes to your top server configuration, and these changes do not apply or are not possible, and their solutions. As always, please do not hesitate to reach out to our technical support team with any questions or if you require any assistance. Thank you.